Thank you for joining us on our super chat. Share this out, get some more people on. It's going to be a show that you will not forget. We've got some great info for you. We'd like some people to jump on. We're going to play a little music just to kind of get things going. And that way we give people time to jump on, because if you missed the beginning, you have to go all the way back and start it over when it's done. So you want to be here in your seat. Fasten your seatbelt, Dorothy. You're not in Kansas anymore. People jumping on. That's good. Share it out. Share it on Facebook. Have people join us. Like I said, you don't want to miss the beginning of this show. We're going to just hang in there for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to let it all out. So welcome.
It's going to be a good show. Hey, welcome everyone to A Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, my show is titled Stalkers Defying Orders. You might think that once someone has a restraining order on them, that would be the end of the story, that person would understand, would learn that they are cut out of this person's life now. They cannot harass, contact, etc., etc. Not directly, not indirectly, through a third party or other form, like the internet or social media. But some people, they just don't learn.
Mm-hmm.
They don't listen. They don't learn. They don't have self-control. They have never heard the word no or heeded it. And they apparently have not been punished adequately by any authority for their behavior. And tonight I'm going to show you the effects of that by telling you about a case that was recently resolved in New York. A case by a woman who I've talked about on my show before, Fabiana Baldo, who took out, she took two people to trial in New York for harassment, for stalking, for putting out information on social media that was considered criminal, harassment, etc. And one of those cases was resolved this last month against Giovanni Valle, or as he likes to Americanize his name, Jovi Val.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to pick it apart, show you what happened at the court and what's happened since the court. And we're going to talk about why, we're going to talk about the significance of that. We're going to think about the significance of this case. Because as you know, there's more than one defendant. And we're also going to listen to a podcast made by Mr. Val on his YouTube channel, which I will warn you ahead of time is pretty revolting. So, trigger warning. And for you, Duke, I apologize in advance because, well, it's ugly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you might have to edit some things. I certainly am going to try to keep the show clean.
Okay.
But I also want to thank profusely everyone who provides me information for the shows that I do. And specifically, I want to thank Fabiana for, going through the harrowing experience of taking people to court, because this case has been going on for over a year. Dude.
Wow. And
there have been numerous appearances in the course of that year, some of which one or two of the parties, the defendants charged in this case, did not appear. Or the case had to be continued for other reasons, or there was appearances and hearings took place. And in that entire time, this woman has been having to deal with these individuals stalking, harassing, etc. So you can imagine what it's like to get to the end of that, at least for
sure.
part of this case, because this part is finished.
Great.
And that's why we get to report about it today. So I want to thank all of you who send information in on show information that we can report. And I also thank you in advance for your support of our programming.
That's for sure. And welcome tonight, everybody. I'm really pleased that you're here. This is, our super chat on Duke 1517, our YouTube channel. We do live streams on Facebook at FM Fargo Moorhead, 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead. We have a couple more Facebook sites, the People's Press Project and Mexi-Can. You can keep on sending this information to Facebook. If you want to use the old-fashioned email and do attachments and that sort of thing, we'll read that too. You can find Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. And you can tweet us at Mediascore at media_PPP. And you can also go to our website at kpppfm.com. That's where you'll find our shows that go way back from years ago when we first started doing podcasts. We run a non-commercial, non-profit radio station here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. We've been on the air for over 3 years. I think we're going close into our 4th year. And, we've been producing a lot of content over those years, and you can find it at kpppfm.com. Also, we're doing a super chat tonight, so please support us. Hit that $ and support our work. If you don't want to do the super chat, go to kpppfm.com/donate. There you can make a tax-deductible donation for our nonprofit work and help keep us our radio station going. We thank all the people who have been supporting us. We've met a lot of friends. We've met people outside this community, internationally, in other countries, been communicating, sharing information, doing shows together, and we have one big group of people that are uniting and working together, and you're part of that. And I want to thank you for being here tonight. It's a great show, and welcome aboard.
Also, I want to give you an idea of the magnitude of what this case is going to teach all of us, okay? Because every single person that has court cases that we have reviewed on this show, that shares their personal experiences of going to court or what their battles were like leading up to the court, all of those people have shown us a lot of information about the patterns that we can see, the similarities that we can see between cases, between the way that the cases are presented. So for that reason, this particular case and its resolution have a lot to tell us. There's a difference between a restraining order, which is usually a temporary restraining order in its infancy, and then becomes an ongoing restraining order. An ongoing restraining order can go from weeks to months to years. But there is usually an end point. Mm-hmm. And you don't get to just, reuse the same restraining order, even if you had one that was issued for a year or something like that, unless you come back to the court and show them that there is a new threat to your safety. And of course, if you've already gotten a restraining order against one person, then it's easier to renew, right? Also, if you've gotten a restraining order against someone and they violated it, either on their own or with other people, it's also easier to prove that you have a need for an ongoing restraining order. Once you get to the point where there are continued violations and there's a pattern established of this continuing violation, a judge can issue a permanent restraining order. That means it's forever. It's not common.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They could issue a restraining order for 5 years, for example, or 10 years. Mm-hmm. But to say, you know what, for you, it's going to have to be forever.
Wow.
And you have to carry that because it's on your record that you had a criminal level of harassment involved in what you were doing, in order for them to say you're never going to be able to go near this person ever again in life because of what you did. It's a high bar, right? It's a high bar. Mm-hmm. So again, there's a lot of work, a lot of time, and a very high bar that you have to meet to prove that you should be given a permanent restraining order of this nature. And that's what happened with Giovanni Valle. Giovanni Valle, a.k.a., as he has liked to Americanize his name, Jovival. He has lost a case in which there will be a permanent restraining order that would prevent him from, in some places, being able to get a firearm. That could possibly prevent him from getting certain kinds of jobs because he has posed a threat. I mean, if you knew that there was a person that had a permanent restraining order against them for harassing a woman, would you let that person serve on your board or work?
Nope.
It would be like something that would give a lot of employers, people, pause. And believe me, when it comes to Jovi Val, there's already a lot of things that should give you pause.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of them. We're going to cover some of them tonight.
Yeah.
But on top of that, to have this permanent nature of a restraining order, it's a ugly blotch. It's an ugly stain to have on your record. And I want to emphasize that, you know, I never actually listened to Jovi Val or had been following a lot about who he was or anything. So I can't say, you know, for sure how much he talked about having evidence or being in the right, but he didn't produce a single shred of convincing evidence. Nothing that he said on any day that he appeared in court was accepted by the judge. So he was given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to say, this is the evidence that proves that this person is lying about me. I can prove it conclusively. Here it is. They're lying about me. I have this evidence. I have this witness. I have this. He did present things. He presented pieces of evidence that were submitted. The judge said, no, can't accept that evidence. That's junk. And he didn't have a single witness. It's not that the judge said, you know what, this person doesn't, that they're not a credible person, or nobody. Not a single person defended or stood up for Jovi Val in his court in the entire time that they went. And this went on for over a year. Not a single shred of evidence, not a single person. And he was issued a permanent restraining order. This happened on February 25th, I believe, 24th. And Fabiana Baldo made this public post talking about her relief that this case was finally over. She said, freedom, on to the 24th. She wrote, freedom is a right in America, not a privilege. No one should endure pain, and that includes stalking, harassment, and extortion. I am writing this with joy and relief today after dealing with an obsessed individual who was once admitted into a mental institution for suicide attempts. He was egged by New Yorkers on May Day for racism remarks at Union Square. And he doesn't seem to accept no for an answer, as he uses retaliation to excuse his disturbing behavior towards me, as well as his third parties, including his criminal Black Lives Matter wife, in quotes. Wife is in quotes. Mm-hmm. My 1-year fight in court for freedom ended with a New York judge standing after me and setting me free from darkness. The truth will always set you free. Don't give up, even if you feel like it. God is always on time. Hashtag thank you, New York. Hashtag New York Logs. Hashtag freedom. Hashtag America. Hashtag amen. So, there's a lot that goes on in there, in the post.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the relief. Presumably these issues were brought up during the case, which is that Jovi Val has caused the eruption of anger against him to the point where he was egged at an event because of his racist remarks. He baits people with theatrics in order to get a rise out of them, in order to get some kind of a reaction. You notice the pattern of behavior?
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar, very, very similar to what we have seen in other con artivists.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with acting. You know, you're pretending, whether it's crying or being outraged or being sad or being scared. We have the gamut of acting involved. And then it also talks about the criminal Black Lives Matter wife, who we know is Natasha Bell. That's the wife of Jovi Val. Natasha Bell has a background. Here's the first page of it with her name on it. The second page shows you that this woman is about 31 years of age, a Leo, and her possible aliases include Natasha B. For Real.
Really?
Yeah, that's a real alias there. Natasha B. For Real.
Yeah, be for real.
Be for real, Natasha. And then this third page, we've got that there is a criminal record in New York City from February 15th. Sorry, excuse me, 5th. February 5th of 2015 on Natasha Bell. And what is it for? Well, here on the fourth and last page, it is for first degree robbery.
Wow.
Which is a B felony. Okay? Class B felony. So indeed, Natasha has a criminal history. Felony robbery.
Yeah. Wow.
Felony robbery. Well, now Mr. Jovi Val has second degree harassment to add it to his record and a permanent restraining order to hopefully keep him in line. Hopefully keep him from stalking and harassing, from continuing to stalk and harass Fabiana Baldo. For those of you who don't know, Miss Baldo is in her own right a model, and she wouldn't call herself a celebrity. She's very modest, but she definitely is a model that has worked internationally. And so it's no surprise, because we have seen other TV celebrities and such that have stalkers.
Yeah.
And, I guess that's something that, folks like this may have to endure or put up with. But, when you have this on a criminal level that is so persistent, you may have to take someone to court like Fabiana did to a group of individuals, she says, she names in her post, which includes Jovi Val.
Yeah.
Here's what the court order looked like. Mr. Val is listed there as Giovanni Valle, which is his legal name as a respondent. And I've blurred most of this, but if you scroll up just a little bit more, just that's good. It says right here that petitioner Fabiana Baldo has established by a preponderance of the evidence that the respondent, Mr. Giovanni Valle, as you can see above, committed acts that would constitute a violation of PL 215.15, unlawful dissemination or publication of an intimate image.
Wow.
And PL 240.26, harassment in the second degree. In that, he posted on the internet intimate photographs of the petitioner without her consent. Fabiana was also able to prove that she herself did not post any of these pictures. So she never published any of the pictures that were used, that were published of her.
Yep.
She never published them anywhere. She never showed them to anyone. She never gave them to people.
So that's a crime.
So they obtained them in some fashion, and then they put them on the internet. They obtained and or created these images and put them on the internet. Here's the second part of this order. This is a court order. That means the judge has made a decision and he's signing the order that this is what is to be done. Okay? To the respondent, Giovanni Valle. Notice, be notified that you are to stay away from Fabiana Baldo, her home, her place of employment. And what else does it say down there, Duke?
Um,
And to refrain from communications or any other contact by mail, by telephone, by email, by voicemail, or any other electronic or any other means. It's very important.
Yeah.
Refrain from communication or any other contact by mail, by telephone, by email, by voicemail, or other electronic or any other means with Fabiana Baldo, including no third party contact. Third party, another person. We already know that there are third parties involved in this case with Giovanni. So that's already been an issue in this case. And then it says respondent not to post defamatory materials on the internet or on social media. So the respondent, Giovanni Valle, aka Jovi Val, he cannot post defamatory materials on the internet or social media. And finally, he is to refrain from assault, stalking, harassment, aggravated harassment, menacing, reckless endangerment, strangulation, criminal obstruction of breathing or circulation, disorderly conduct, criminal mischief, sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, forcible touching, intimidation, threats, identity theft, grand larceny, coercion, or any criminal offense against Fabiana Baldo.
wow.
And guess what it says at the top? Okay? This is pretty important. Your failure to obey this order may subject you to mandatory arrest. Do not pass go.
Yep.
Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. Go to jail.
Wow.
Mandatory arrest. I think that's what it means, right? You go directly to jail.
Yep, you go directly to jail.
Is that what you understand by that?
Yep, that's what I understand.
You fail to follow this order that the court has now made after a year-long hearing and my ruling, and you could go directly to jail right now. That's what it means. That's what it says. Okay, let's continue. And then it says, which may result, mandatory arrest and criminal prosecution. Okay, so you will be put in jail, and then you will be criminally charged for violating this order, which carries with it, which it says next in the next part of the sentence, which may result in your incarceration for up to 7 years.
Wow.
For criminal contempt. Or you may be subject court prosecution and incarceration for up to 6 months for contempt of court.
Wow.
This order of protection will remain in effect if the protected party has or consents to have contact or communication with the party against whom the order is issued. So even if Fabiana said, I want to have contact, I want to have communication, I said it was okay to have communication, that's still a violation of this order.
Wow.
Even if she agreed to it, even if she was okay with it, it would still violate the order. Furthermore, it says that this order of protection can only be modified or terminated by the court. Fabiana Baldo has proven her case. Fabiana Baldo, as the victim of this harasser, stalker, serial stalker, cannot say to the court, "Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't know what I was thinking. I would rather just can you just remove it? You know why? Because when you get to the point of this level of you have to prove the criminal nature of it, the danger, the inherent danger that is ongoing, that doesn't stop for the judge to go, okay, you need to be in a permanent timeout. That kind, you can't have that high of a bar for proving your case, which carries with it a criminal sentence, and then expect for the person who was victimized by this to be able to come in and say, oh, just take it off. Because that person might be coerced. That person could be threatened into doing that. And that's why, just like when you have a case of domestic violence, that when the police are called, they got to arrest if they see signs. Even if the woman says, I don't want you to arrest.
Yeah, because you're committing a crime.
So, yeah, exactly. This goes beyond Fabiana and what Fabiana wants or doesn't want. This can only be terminated by a judge. Another hearing would have to be held to determine if he's no longer an ongoing threat to Fabiana, because for now, the court has determined that this is going to last forever.
Wow.
And then it says that the protected party cannot be held to violate their own order. They can't be violating their own order, and they can't be arrested for violating their own order, because the order is not against them. It's against Giovanni Valle. Exactly. So she can't, if she happened to be in the vicinity of this Giovanni Valle, Jovi Val, and she didn't know about it, and he decided he called the cops to tell on her, they can't arrest her, and she can't get in trouble. Only he can. Only he can. So now that we understand that, I want to show you what was posted in Conservative Truth about this case and about somebody lying to the judge. Somebody lying to the judge. Talking about Fabiana Baldo and her case. Here's the post. This is from Conservative Truth. Sick bee trying to get a reaction from a man that now absolutely hates her. He will never talk to you again. He will never contact you again. He will never even think of you again. You're a total nobody. Laugh emoji. Remember, this is about Fabiana Baldo's case where she won at the high bar level. I just told you, a permanent restraining order against Giovanni Valle, a.k.a. Jovi Val. And Conservative Truth is laughing and saying, this person will never talk to you again. Yes, if that's the hope.
That's what the order says.
That's what the order says. Yeah, okay. And then it says, you will wait for him until your last day. This is Conservative Truth saying that Fabiana is obsessed with Jovi, and she's going to be waiting for him until her last day. Is that something believable given the fact that this woman has spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, and hired a lawyer and went to the extreme lengths of collecting all of the evidence to show, to prove, which she did conclusively, that this man is a stalker.
It sounds like the stalker to me, reversing it.
Yes, stalker or co-stalker perhaps. This is what it continues to say. It says, because you went and lied to a judge, and all you accomplish is to destroy your small, mini, little, tiny, minute, extra extra small chance of him ever even saying hi again. Even saying hi again. The tiniest little chance that you had of him saying hi.
Yeah.
Well, now that comes with jail time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know who this sick individual is that is posting this, but Conservative Truth seems to have a delusion about Fabiana and Jovi. And it doesn't bear out in the actions of the court or the actions of Fabiana or anything.
Exactly.
But that doesn't really matter, does it? Like,
No.
logic doesn't really matter. Here's what the rest of that post by Conservative Truth says. Everyone around him is happy to know that now a judge obligates him not to ever think of you again. He is aware, not like Omar. So, okay, Omar went to jail again for violating his restraining order. Omar Navarro, that is. For those of you who don't know, it's another person I've featured on my show who has problems following orders, restraining orders.
Exactly.
Omar Navarro went to jail again because he could not refrain from violating restraining orders.
Yeah, couldn't help himself.
And this Conservative Truth says, Jovi will totally follow the order, unlike Omar Navarro. But also says, could you go back to that Conservative Truth post for a second? Also says, everyone around Jovi is happy now. They're happy that a judge obligated him not to think of you again. So all of the people that were in fighting this case were happy that it happened? Wait a minute.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Dude, help me understand.
You can't understand a psycho, someone that's coming back and, and basically produce evidence that wasn't evidence and now is banned from ever seeing this person again for the rest of her life. Saying that he's happy about it, that doesn't make any sense. We are doing a super chat, and I'd like to thank our first contributor of $100, 4paws. Third-party stalkers? Hey, Lorraine, you listening to this? Because you fall into this category. That means we can come for you next. Actually, the third-party stalkers, that when you put something else up to your dirty business, you're violating that restraining order.
Yep. Especially if they can show in court that another party was doing your bidding, was doing your dirty work, like you put it, Duke. And guess what? In this case, a judge determined that the postings and the harassment of a third party were a violation of the restraining order that Fabiana had against Jovi Val, which was the basis, one of the reasons why this permanent restraining order was issued, was granted.
Wow.
And he did already violate this restraining order because
he can't help himself.
He cannot help himself. This was posted in a form of social media app, kind of similar to WhatsApp in the sense that it has chat groups.
Okay.
And you can create chat groups. And in his own chat group called Hispanic, broken into 3, get it, Hispanic, because Jovi Val is Hispanic. So his Hispanic room is the chat group that he has. And I'll show you that this group chat in the Telegram app belongs to Jovi Val in just a moment. But first, I will go straight to the violation. Here is the post which I've already shown you that Fabiana made, which was public.
Yes.
On February 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And on February 25th, just the very next day,
Yep.
Giovanni Valle, a.k.a. Jovi Val, posts the Facebook post of Fabiana's. The very same one I just showed you word for word.
Yep.
You just saw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I won't read it again.
Nope.
Hashtag freedom, hashtag America, hashtag amen.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Very same one. And then he pops off with the following. These are words from a complete psycho who's not only obsessed, but mentally disturbed. Nothing in my mind tells me this person is sane. Nothing. No matter how unhinged a woman is, the court always favor them. This is why Casey Anthony, for those of you who don't remember, Casey Anthony was accused of killing her 2-year-old daughter, I believe.
Okay.
She was 2 years old. I don't remember. And famously, she got away with it, didn't she? Mm-hmm. She got off. Anyway, he continues after bringing up Casey Anthony, a woman that is accused of murdering her own baby.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he goes on to Lorena Bobbitt. This is why Casey Anthony is not in jail or Lorena Bobbitt received a standing ovation. Too bad there is such a thing as Too bad there's such a thing as evidence which still hasn't been presented.
Oh, really?
The case is over. Can you present evidence after a case is over?
Nope, it's done.
This person
Yep.
doesn't know the law, doesn't have a clue what they're talking about with regard to evidence, and they're spewing this in violation of the court order. Mm-hmm. This will be used as a sword against men to try to control them, but fembots won't win against the truth. Hashtag believe evidence, not women.
Yep.
The evidence that I haven't shown you. I have so much evidence I'm going to show you.
Yeah, it's too late.
It's going to be coming up. Oh my gosh, I have the evidence. I won't even tell you what kind of evidence it is. But believe the evidence, okay?
Yep.
Believe the evidence you haven't seen, not the women. How can you... I don't even understand that. Okay, and then the next hashtag is hashtag masculinist. Do you know what that is, Duke?
I don't know. Let's just kind of focus on men. Masculine cultist.
Masculinist.
Yes.
I've never heard that word before I read this. And before I did this preparing for the show, research for the show, I had never heard of that word.
No.
I'm like, what in the heck is a masculinist? And all of your questions will be answered by a horrible excerpt from a podcast done by Jovi Val titled Masculinist.
Okay.
In just a moment.
Yep.
But first,
Yep.
we're going to finish going through the rest of these hashtags. Clams with no pearls. He is referring to women.
Yeah.
Clams with no pearls. I don't know. I mean, I do know, actually. I know with every fiber of my being why that is so vile and why that's so disgusting. But he just, reeks of this personality that is narcissistic and vapid, but they have this delusionally inflated sense of self-worth, or at least they try to project it.
Exactly.
When they don't have it, they try to fake it till they make it.
Mm-hmm.
And their self-esteem is like very, very low.
Mm-hmm.
They know that their relationships blow up within, like a ticking time bomb within, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. It doesn't take long for people to come to the conclusion that this person has problems with relationships, that they don't know how to relate or respect or understand or have boundaries with other people. And they also have this sense of entitlement to people's lifetime, their valuables, their...
Mm-hmm.
I should have that. That should be mine.
Yep.
You know, they have that kind of sense of entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. I read that in Jovi. And that just comes from everything else I've seen, you know, too. And of course, because I've been investigating fraudsters, many of whom, con artists, many of whom are incredibly narcissistic, but also projecting. You know, they're also very delusional, and they project a lot onto other people. So you see that, you know, you begin to see the pattern.
Yep.
And if we could go back to the last part of that, he also says, hashtag, justice closes her eyes. So let's just go through what he said there, because there's a lot to say. He said a lot of things. Mm-hmm. He said that Fabiana is a psycho with no proof, no merit. He just basically called her mentally unstable. And then said that the judge was, I don't know, a pushover or what, because he's a feminist, because he didn't rule based on the evidence. He ruled based on the fact that she's a woman, and that women like Casey Anthony and Lorena Bobbitt, and apparently he's lumping Fabiana into that group, they all get away with doing horrible things, and they still win because...
Yeah, that's something that came out with the men's movement, you know, the Promise Keepers.
Men's rights.
Yeah. You know, I did a lot.
We saw something like that with Benji Winderweed.
Oh, yeah. And they came out with these. Well, first of all, they hate women. They hate the partners that they're with. And if they had children with them, then they hate them even more. A lot of the beginning of that movement started with the child support issues. Men felt they should never have to pay child support. And all sorts of things have changed in the courts to favor women, because women have been oppressed by men. This is classic male supremacist ideology, which hates women, but yet has to have women, but hates women. And courts always favor the women, you know, never for the men. And so they have this, that their justice is above the real justice that exists in the world. And it's based on supremacy and enslaving women.
And you know what it resulted in when we saw it before with Mr. Winderweedle?
Yep.
Attacks on the judge. Mm-hmm. That judge is an idiot. And then he started saying directly to the judge, started posting videos. That's the kind of cuckoo that we are dealing with here, because this guy goes right from the victim, whose case was proven through and through and given a permanent restraining order. Mm-hmm. That judge was wrong.
Yep.
He says. And we also learn that he believes that the case can be reopened by him. Now, either he is truly delusional or he is flexing, because, you know, another pattern that you see when people like this are exposed is that they'll tell you, you know, I'm suing.
Yeah.
I'm, you know,
doing a countersuit.
I'm calling the FBI. Mm-hmm. I've got, you know, a GoFundMe for legal fees. We've seen all of these things many times. So what we know is that it's a deflection to say, don't look at me anymore, and don't look at the criminal activities I'm involved with. I have a plan. I've got a plan. Totally on it, taking care of it. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. And so it might be that he is like, oh, wait, if you thought that I have a permanent blot on my record, a permanent criminal history now, you could be wrong, because I might do magic, and
I'm going to present evidence now. I have evidence I'm going to present.
Yep.
To what?
And wait till you see that evidence. It's going to be amazeballs.
Oh, yeah. Oh boy.
And maybe I'm going to win my case
Yep.
after the fact, perhaps, and maybe pigs will fly.
Yep.
You never know.
Exactly.
So I don't know which one it is. Either way, this guy is nuts.
Yeah.
He's nuts. There's no way you're going to open up the case. You can't present no more evidence. The only way that the case will rehear this is, or change it, is if they rehear it. Now, Hispanic Room has 289 subscribers.
Okay.
And this is the HTTPS where it is found. It is a public room. Anybody that has the app can go into this room.
Oh, okay.
And in it, if you look in the panic room, one of the subscribers or one of the people in it is a real conquistador. In this Hispanic room, there's another one. This one is called a chat.
Oh, okay.
And if you scroll down, you'll see it says, "Welcome to HPR, where no one is safe, but not in danger of censorship unless porn, gore, doc, spam. Keep in mind something." If you look at the members, if you go down and look at the numbers, you will see that the owner is called the Real Conquistador.
Huh.
Okay? Now go to the one before it, please, and scroll down. You'll look at the Hispanic room, and it says in the About section, "Welcome to the Activists Politigram channel. Here we will discuss everything from religion to politics and expose.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then there's a YouTube channel, which I'll show you in a minute. Scroll down. And past these photos, no, I think this is in the next thing. Okay, keep going. The next one, no, it's the next one after that. That's the one, yeah. This next one shows you the identity of the Real Conquistador profile, which is at Jovi Val.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see right there that the Real Conquistador who started the Hispanic chat room is Jovi Val.
Yep.
Okay? And he posts in there that he just received this information. Attention, he says. Just received this. Hashtag Paloma Trump's buddy, Jovi Val, discussing in a public chat how he was convicted by a New York judge for stalking and harassing model Fabiana Balto and granted with a permanent restraining order against him. If Jovi was smart, he'd leave this lady alone. This is evidence of harassment. If I were him, I'd hide in Mexico before he gets incarcerated again. Jovi seems tough to call judges liars, lol. He sounds like Omar Navarro. Mm-hmm. Why continue to stalk the lady's page and sharing around after being convicted? Isn't he married? Laugh emoji. If he was happily married, he wouldn't be stalking other women. These stalkers should stop stalking women that don't want anything to do with them. Clown emoji. And he posts this, which apparently came from some other platform on social media. Could have been Facebook, who knows?
Yeah.
And says that we were just received this. And then it says, so she calls people stalkers, and yet she herself stalks people with this fake page to know what they're saying. Lamau. Psychos are going to psycho, I guess. So he posts once again about the case. And then just keep going to the next shot, the next screenshot,
okay,
please. On the next screenshot, we have him talking about, at the bottom of this psycho's post that we were just reading, if you scroll down further, he says, it seems there's pictures of a sunset on a beach and a drink. Mm-hmm. And then it says, it seems many have this idea of who I am or what I believe, but I can assure you that you have no idea until you break bread with. And I can say the same about you. I do what I can to expose the nose, but this is never easy or safe. However, it is necessary to do so. Not a day goes by when I don't think what I'm doing has consequences, and so does remaining silent. I pray many more wake up to understand they've been lied to for so long. Fight for your beliefs no matter who is against you, but also understand this isn't always fun. That sounds like an unrepentant person. Somebody that wants to continue to do what they want to do, even though they were told they're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yep. The answer is no.
And you know what? This should be a lesson. This should be a lesson. If you violate restraining orders, if you don't learn, you're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up in jail. It says so right there on the order.
Yep, exactly.
So this is his new cut. You can see this is definitely his chat. He posts his new haircut in it. And he says right on there, this is my new haircut. And then there is some of the stuff that's posted in here is just so gross.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide, please. The talking about stalking white women.
Yeah.
This is a post from the 15th, and it's a picture of him. It says, Jovi acts exactly like Jews. He claims he's white when his DNA says the opposite, constantly attacks whites and mocks their groups. He's been kicked out of 109 places, but it's never his fault. It's always someone else's. Jovi is a subversive mamzer. I don't know what these things are. I can't even read through the rest of this because it is filled with slurs.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read it. But that's the kind of thing that happens in a conversation on his page. But this is a group obviously of people that talk like white supremacists saying this guy is just an agitator. That's all he is. Nobody likes Jovi Val. Nobody likes Jovi Val.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much to Pendeja for fraud. We got some support. Duke, did you see that?
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you for the support.
The this post in the Hispanic room is talking about I can't read this without stumbling over some of these words. I'm like, he's so awful. Mm-hmm. He says this video is flagged for playing Hotel California in the beginning 10 seconds. And then he says that maggots, that's what he calls people that are, MAGA.
Oh, okay.
And he also calls them maggotards.
Mm.
And he has a show called The Maggotards. And in this next one, you can see he's talking about his YouTube channel with Maggotard Mondays, where they, I guess, interview people he considers to be maggotards. And he talks in his podcast about how, when people come on and have different opinions than him, he doesn't listen to them or, doesn't let himself be have his mind changed. He merely has them talk in his vicinity, and then he talks at them.
Yeah.
And in this one, he is with Milo Yiannopoulos, and he says at the bottom, someone once sent me her nudes, and I almost lost my appetite. Be gone, thought. And then he gets a message from Cassandra Fairbanks in this chat that says, I still haven't gotten approved for a CPAC press credential.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, Cassandra Fairbanks.
Cassandra Fairbanks.
Wow.
And then Jovi Val talks about Patriots Day in this post. There's a quote from Adolf Hitler in this room. Him talking about Patriots Day in the rainstorm, and you can scroll down and see There's a link to a YouTube channel of him talking under this tarp at some event called Patriots Day.
Wow.
In this next one, he's got a post about feminazis.
Really?
And he's talking on his podcast about the feminazi episode 5. Is that as far as it goes? There was no more words?
White Phosphorus podcast.
I don't know what that means. Is there any more words? Okay, no. And then in this next post, he talks about how he got word that some people, which he calls, I can't remember the word exactly, that he might be banned from the White House by a swarm of magatards.
Yes.
That wrote to organizations and signed petitions. So the Zionats, I don't know what that means either. But he says that now he's coming soon. He's going to plan. You know, he hadn't actually been planning on taking a trip to the White House, but now that somebody told him he would get banned, he's going to take a trip there.
Yep.
He's planning it right now. So you can get an idea of how he talks in here. It's really, really gross.
Yep.
Here's one where he talks about LGBT Trump. The LGBT Trump. And I also don't know what that means, but here's his podcast on the topic and what he's going to say on his podcast about this on his Megatard Mondays.
Megatard Mondays.
And he's got some guy named Peter Boykin from founder of Gays for Trump, and he talks about the podcast. And then in this next one, he's talking about Zog. Again, I have no idea what this weird terminology is. I feel like it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type of a nerd talk.
Yeah.
That, you know, and I mean, no offense to the nerds out there. I love some nerds, but this is like, you know, racist nerd talk or something.
Yeah, it is. Racist nerd talk. I think you're right.
And it's annoying. Here's this other one about his YouTube channel. Let me show you his YouTube channel. Here he is posting in Hispanic Room about his podcast on his YouTube. And this one is called Return of the Fash Feet Ma Fashy Bookshelf.
I have no idea what that means.
He's probably talking about a book from his fashy bookshelf because he's a, you know, proud fascist.
Fascist, yes.
And in this next one, he is here's the YouTube chat and the actual YouTube channel with all these different episodes. The second of which you can see right away with the person wearing the MAGA hat is called on Megatard Mondays, The Masculinist. Same as the hashtag of the post where he talked about Fabiana Baldo.
Exactly.
And here is the rest of the videos. I just want to show you all the videos he has on this channel. And here's the third one. You see the one with the red pill right there, which, of course, is the one I just showed you from his chat.
Yep.
And here's the last one. That's all.
That's it?
Only from the second to the third screenshot I just showed, there was only one additional video.
Yeah, you're right.
So there's a total of about 13 videos in the whole thing,
all right.
the whole channel.
Right.
And Hispanic feminism on the right is one of the other shows that you saw right there in his YouTube channel.
Okay.
And here it is on him posting about it in Hispanic Room. If you scroll down, you can see he's talking about right-wing feminism, and he also hashtags it with masculinist.
Yep.
And here is the post he made about incels. Check it out. You see there's a little video there with that. I'll show you that in a minute. And he says, Chad versus incel. Who's filming this fight? And then there's another video of him apparently sitting in his car. Sherry, thank you so much for your support. We're working hard so you don't have to. We're doing the research. We're dissecting all of this so you don't have to. And believe me, woo, oh my God, mijos and mijas, believe me, you do not want to do this dirty work. Duke almost got mad at me for listening to this podcast.
Oh,
It was. What did you think of it, honey? You had to listen to it.
It drove me
Looked
crazy.
like you were going to cry.
Well, yeah, it was just listening to this guy
Thank
talk.
you for your support, Sherry.
Oh, yes.
Read her a
Sherry,
message.
Keep on rocking it, Cindy. Love you guys. We love you too. Thank you very much for the support.
We love you right back.
I had to listen to this stuff for the show to get prepared. And we're not playing long segments, but this Megatard Monday, 3 hour long, we do long shows, and but when you have to listen to 3 hours of this guy, it's like, okay, I didn't know much about him before the show. We did a show a while back, I think it was after we came back from Mexico, called the Jovi Tour. So we did put some stuff in there, and there were some things about this Jovi character. But doing this show exclusively on him because of his now being, held accountable for committing crimes in New York and has a lot of repercussions he will pay from even doing the things he's just done in the past. The few days after the court day was signed, sealed, and delivered, he started breaking it, and he can face up to 7 years in jail for that. And so I thought, who is this guy? Who is this guy that just thinks he can just go out and beyond and everyone else is wrong, judges are wrong, women are wrong, and listening to this podcast, and there's only one of them, it about drove me crazy. And we have some clips from it. We're going to play a little bit. It's only like, a minute clip, 2 minute clips, about a total of 6-7 minutes of it. But I think, we can drop the link in there and you can listen and watch the thing for yourself. But please, hang on to yourself through that.
Yeah, grab a pillow.
Yeah. Take a pill.
Get something comforting, because you're going to want to comfort yourself when you listen to this craziness. It is almost vomit inducing. And
yeah.
But like I said, it's, I do it for the masses. I do it for the research. I want to make sure we document the crazy and also the violations of these restraining orders that we are seeing. So in this next one, you're going to see that he's talking about the East Coast, leaving the East Coast. He's on a plane and he's flying out of the East Coast somewhere. And it shows him in his plane seat, and and then it has at the bottom of it, "Bye-bye, East Coast." Yeah. He's looking out the plane window. Or no, so long, East Coast. And then in this next one, let's show you some of the videos he posts in there. He also does little videos in there, as I've shown. Here's some more videos. One of them saying, "What an insult to the Fuhrer." There's another one and another one. So you see he does a lot of different things in here, which includes videos. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just show you a couple of them. These are the kinds of things Jovi thinks is cool to put in this chat. Him getting beaten. When we did the show in the past that Duke was talking about on Jovi Val, we showed you that Jovi is an agitator. That Jovi likes to go out and have the police show up and have the cameras show up and have the news show up. These people are attention hooas. Mm-hmm. They got to get in front of that camera. They want to get everybody's attention. And so for that reason, they cause a scene, and that includes blood and violence, and they're okay with it.
Wow.
So okay, they're constantly posting about their confrontations they're having with people. This is a game to them.
Wow.
Here is the clip.
For a guy who just got out of a scuffle, I don't look too bad. Oh, shush. You know damn well you think you're all high and mighty. I don't care who's in the group. They can all talk crap to each other. If I put you in there, they're going to get pissed off because I put a single mom who's...
Is that Jovi Val talking with a British accent?
Yeah, I was wondering what's going on there.
I don't think that Jovi Val has a friend with the British accent. Well, let me rephrase. I don't think Jovi Val has a friend.
Yeah.
Period. End. Stop. Here's another video where he talks about the value of sparring, because sparring is important. Yes. Sparring every day, I guess, is important.
And that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Tune in next time where I fight nobody. I'm tired.
So, I don't know why, but I'm about to fight the anti-root guy. I think it's necessary to do this for everyone. You have to learn how to spar. Now, he did say he's not going to take it easy on me because I'm a mamzer or something like that. But I don't know if that's even making it better for himself. Anyways, just keep in mind that it doesn't matter how non-violent you are. Sparring is good. Sparring is necessary. You have to prepare yourself for the ugly. Alright? Let me just show you guys a little bit of where we're at. Alright? I don't know if you guys saw that.
Jules 1999 says, losers trying to be internet famous. Yes. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
Mary says, I was in D.C. He stood up to Antifa at the free speech rally. When Antifa stormed the stage, he said, it's their free speech. What? Jovi Val said that? Well,
Wow.
there's a lot of crazy things that fly out of this man's mouth.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious because you had him saying in one video, tune in next time when I will fight no one. And the very next video is of him going, well, I'm going to be fighting some dude.
Yep, exactly.
He contradicts himself like
Yeah, and you know,
quickly.
he makes movie references like the fembots from Austin Powers. And I don't know why they're not saying the number one rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. But they're breaking the first rule of Fight Club, and they're out there talking about Fight Club.
I know. I'm sorry. You're funny.
That was a joke.
I know. You're hilarious.
You have to joke, especially when we hit the stuff we have coming up. You got to joke before you watch the rest of the stuff.
I know. I have to give you a little sugar to help the medicine go down.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, this is going to take some swallowing. It's
Yep.
gross. So I showed you his YouTube channel. And on this YouTube channel, I showed you there was a video called The Masculinist, which I'm going to try and explain to you what that is. But they're having a conversation, basically. You know, it's like the feminist, the male version of a feminist, which is more like a men's right type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has a guest, believe it or not, he has a guest that he talks to on this show. And I'm not going to have you listen to the guest. I'm just going to have you focus on the things Jovi says, which he actually speaks through most of his podcast that, again, was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like, even though he was very angry at the beginning of his program because the person he was going to have on, a woman, decided she didn't want to come on or couldn't come on at the last minute. And then he sat there and complained about the fact that, you know, she doesn't have time to do my show, but she has time to go fight in a chat room with these other people and gossip and fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. When he finally gets a guest, he just talks over the guest the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And he even says in one part that you're going to hear in a minute, I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep on doing it because I can't help myself.
Exactly.
I've seen other interviews by so-called interviewers like that in the past.
Yeah, and the guest, after an hour not being able to speak, says, I got to go. And he's like, well, hey, hold on. Before you go, let me talk some more.
I know. Oh, my God. That was so funny. Excuse me. Okay. So, anyway, this first clip is him kind of having an explanation of what men's rights are.
Okay. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hey, James.
Hi, how you doing? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I just got you on right now, so you can introduce yourself.
What's going on? I'm James, as the man said. I'm a MGTOW. I got to be honest with you. This masculinist thing seems a little bit new to me. What would you describe it maybe as like kind of like MRA or something like that?
What would you say is MRA?
Well, men's rights activism. Trying
Oh,
to.
yes. Well, men's rights, I mean, it's honestly sad how we think that whatever women have today are rights when in reality it's privilege. It has nothing to do with rights. It's when you take away from someone, that's not rights. Those are privileges. And that's what's going on with men today. Their rights are being stripped from them because of women's supposed rights. So I guess you could say in a way it's MRA. I mean, I've met people that are within those groups, and it's interesting how you never hear about them. People kind of laugh and snicker when you talk about men's rights, especially these so-called, trad wives or trad lifers, these so-called trad women. Clams. They're all clams, okay? I think, do you know the analogy of clams?
No, I don't believe I do.
Not all clams have pearls, and the ones that don't have pearls, you chuck them back into the water. And the reason why, because clams at the end of the day are shellfish.
Yeah, that does make sense.
That doesn't make sense. Come on.
Did you? This is a man.
Yeah.
This is a man, and I have to tell you that because that sounded like something that I would have heard from a kid in junior high that is covered in zits and cannot get a date for the life of him.
Yep.
Clams are there are clams with pearls and there are clams without pearls.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the clams, you throw them back. And he's like, they're shellfish. They're shellfish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Uh-huh.
I made a play on words.
Mm-hmm.
How old is this kid? Like 30-some years old?
Yep.
He's a 30-some-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
I made a joke
Mm-hmm.
that has wordplay in it. I'm so clever. And he
Yeah.
laughs at his own joke.
Yep. And the other guy is like, I could tell he didn't want to hear it. No. Do you know what clams are? No.
He's like,
And he has like, oh yeah, it
and
sounds,
he's like,
sounds like it.
He hesitates because he's like,
I don't know.
I don't win either way. If I say I do, he's going to quiz me. If I say I don't, he's going to tell me what it is, and I'm
Yep.
going to have to listen to it.
Exactly.
But then, in this next clip, they talk about the court because I looked at the post and I thought, wow, that's a violation. Clearly, you read the order, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
At
I
the
did.
beginning of the show, it
Yep.
said, don't communicate in this form or this
Yep.
form or this form or this form.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
Yep.
If you violate this order, you can go straight to jail. Mandatory arrest.
Mm-hmm.
You will be prosecuted for the violation. And as a result of that prosecution, you could be convicted and get years of prison.
Yep.
Up to 7 years of prison.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? He posts about it right away.
Yep.
Zero self-control.
Mm-hmm.
Then I look at the hashtag masculinist. I'm like, what the hell is that? Right around the same day, he does this podcast. And I'm like, what are the chances that he will be stupid enough to talk about the actual court case in this podcast? And, considering the source, I thought my odds were pretty good because this guy
Yeah.
is not that smart.
Mm-hmm.
Not that smart. And more so than not smart, they are thumbing their nose at the law. They're playing chicken with our court systems.
Mm-hmm.
They're gaming. They're running, right? They're like, catch me if you can.
Yep. Exactly.
Punish me
Punish me
if
if you
can catch me.
Yep.
right?
Right.
So, with that kind of an attitude, there is this bravado, this like, I can get away with it. Totally can get away with it. And indeed, they did talk about the court case. Here is that clip. You cannot believe what you are about to hear.
All right.
I mean, wow. This is crazy what you're going to hear. Listen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, that's something that men should appreciate, that a man is actually fighting against those temptations, the lust-driven heart, that's very hard to fight against. And I honestly would love to say, hey, I haven't had sex in 2 years, but unfortunately, I'm weak when it comes to that. And I have to really fight against that temptation, that lust-driven heart that I keep saying out loud, like, this is what I'm dealing with. And in a sense, I feel like I have no problem when it comes to women. Like, sure, you have these crazy clams online just screaming at the top of their lungs. But other than that, I'm fine. Like, when it comes to having a relationship with women, I'll tell you one thing, though. I don't ever try to be friends with them. You can have a relationship with a woman. You just don't have to be friends with them. There are ways around that, of course. They know what they're there for, and you already set the boundaries, and they have to respect that. The moment they don't, you can walk away. And I guess in a sense, I am a MGTOW because I don't try to build relationships with women, but also I feel like I do want to have a family before I'm 30. Absolutely. I want to have children. I want to have a wife, I can even accept the fact that I will have children and not have a wife, because women are just so vile today. It's like, I don't know about you, dude, but I ended up in court because of a woman. I ended up, pleading my case because of a woman. It had nothing to do with whatever they accused me of. It just had to do with the fact that I left her. If she would have left me, then it would have been fine. I would have lived my life. She would have lived her life. She moved on. But that's the problem with women. They never move on. The only way they move on, honestly, believe it or not, guys, the only way a woman will move on from you is if the next guy is satisfying her in ways that you couldn't, right? So in a sense, you can kind of be proud to say, hey, wow, there's nobody that can satisfy this woman because she's obsessed with me. But then again, you're like, oh my God, she's obsessed with me. I already moved on. She doesn't want to. And that's the problems that we're dealing with right now. So nobody's going to believe that, oh, right, yeah, sure, she's obsessed with you. Right, sure. I was like, dude, if she would have left me, it would have been fine. I would have gone my own way and lived my life. She would have done the same. But when you leave a woman, there's consequences for that. Remember that, guys. There's consequences for when you leave a woman. You have to know how to leave on good terms. And it's almost never good terms, even if you hear it. Like, there was a guy I was renting an apartment to, and he said, oh, no, I used to live with my girlfriend, and I just needed to move out of there. And I was like, is she going to come over here, knock on the door, and bother me while I'm sleeping? She's like, oh, no, we left on good terms. And I was like, what does that even mean? And he explained, oh, well, we were living together after we broke up, and it was kind of awkward, so I decided to make the first move. And I was like, all right, just letting you know, I don't want no crazy bat over here at 4 o'clock in the morning, throwing bricks through the window. I don't need that, okay? I like to sleep as well. And it's true. This will probably happen. Sorry. Just like, oh, man.
No,
this
okay.
one almost did a number on me. This one almost did a number on me. That's why. But,
yeah.
This one almost did a number on me.
Yep.
Almost did a number on me. That's a court order for a permanent restraining order. What are you talking about?
Yeah, really.
A number.
Mm-hmm.
He says, this woman took me into court, and he says, and it had nothing to do with what I was there for, what they accused me of. So he doesn't recognize the order.
Yep.
Do you understand that?
Yep.
He doesn't recognize the court's order because it wasn't even, and the case wasn't even about in his delusional mind,
Yep.
the case wasn't about harassment, stalking on a criminal level, which Fabiana proved.
Mm-hmm.
She had to have enough evidence to prove that in court, which she did. It said, I read it to you.
Yep, exactly.
I read you the most important part. The judge believes that what she did merited a permanent restraining order, and she proved that he committed criminal harassment.
Yep.
So, he views that as like, that wasn't even what the case was about. The case was about the fact that I left her.
Yeah.
I left her. Now, there's a lot of confusion that crazy people with delusions and stalking and this kind of behavior create. They want to create the illusion of a relationship between themselves and the person that they stalk, where they're actually the victims.
Yeah.
I left her, and she didn't like it. And that's why she took me to court for stalking her. This had nothing to do with me actually stalking her,
Yep.
actually harassing her, actually threatening her, actually putting out defamatory information and defamatory images of her in the criminal. This is a criminal offense in the interwebs. No. It was because I left her, and she couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
It messed her up so badly. She decided to spend thousands of dollars and take me to court and get a permanent restraining order so that I can never talk to her without going to jail.
Yeah.
How cuckoo is this?
Very cuckoo. Again, it's like, it just so turned around, and just so much in his own delusion in his own brain. And, Mary Tando made a contribution, a $49.99 contribution. Jovi delusional like his best friend P4F. They both cannot respect the law. They both stalk.
Exactement.
Yeah, and his similarities with that psychosis with people acting the same, doing the same things.
Well, if you've ever had any dealings, including having to go to court, that are like this, you know exactly what that deflecting looks like. But there's a lot of people out there, it's sad that I even have to explain this, that believe that there was something going on, or there must have been something going on between Giovanni Valle and New York model Fabiana Baldo. But think logically. I've had people stalked on my shows that were celebrities at Fox, that are, prominent people, beautiful people. And when you hear that, when you realize who he's stalking, I think right off the bat, it seems kind of illogical that Fabiana would be with a guy like this masculinist.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, he obviously has hate toward women issues. Why would any woman want to have a relationship with a man that says, I don't form friendships with women. I don't do that. Sure, I want to have a family and kids and a wife, but I've already accepted that I will have children without the wife because women are so vile.
Yeah.
And right after that, will you marry me? What would you say? If you
way.
heard that from a man,
Crazy.
like, no, I
Crazy.
would never marry somebody like that.
Get away from me.
Exactly. But we're supposed to believe Fabiana Baldo was cuckoo for
Cocoa Puff.
Cocoa Puffs over here.
Mm-hmm.
That she was in love with him. That she couldn't stand for him to leave.
Yeah.
I told them to go away and they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
And of course, none of it is true. None of it is true. I mean, now that you know that she's this beautiful model with a job
Mm-hmm.
and a career and no criminal background, who studied medicine and has an pilot's license, and do you really believe that she wants to date an incel? Or what does he call himself? A megawatt? Or
Yeah. He's a
they're
megawatt.
so weird. Their names are so weird. I don't even know what the hell they mean. Absolutely, positively, no.
Mm-hmm.
No. But on top of that, this delusional person wants you to believe wants anyone to believe that there is a reason why somebody would pursue taking you to court and spending thousands of dollars to get a permanent restraining order so you can never come near them again, and try to convince folks that that's based on a broken heart.
Yeah.
That it's based on a desire to get revenge for having left the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so far-fetched. It makes me wonder why he would make a show in which he talked about it, because it's so embarrassing and dark to admit that, to say the awful, horrible things he said about his future.
Yeah, he just wanted to get a jump on it.
Yeah. And then he says to his friend, it's like he was in a trance just spewing all of this vileness at what happened to Fabiana, never mentioning that he got a permanent restraining order against him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he goes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like he snapped back into
Yeah, he's
reality.
venting.
Sorry, I was venting. This woman almost did a number on me. It was like he wanted to say, this woman really did a number on me.
Mm-hmm.
And the number was, she got a restraining order, permanent restraining order. She stopped me.
Yep.
She said no.
Yeah, she won.
And now if I violate this, I'm going to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he knows that he's going to go to jail. And he starts like talking about, hey, I'm going to say what I want to say. And, I know it's not really free speech. I mean, I'm probably crossing a line, but, me and some other people out there, some of my friends, we're riding that fine line. We're going to try and figure out whether or not we go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Listen for yourselves. I'm not making this up. This is the next clip. Check it out. The power of free speech.
A lot of these men, they believe all these rumors. They don't go by evidence. They're all a part of the Me Too. Like, here, I'll give you an example. I know I'm talking a lot, right? But I'll give you an example. Augustus Invictus. I know so many people are upset for me even saying this, but I knew the man was innocent about that kidnap crap that they try to pull on him. Oh, she wrote it on a police report. It has to be true. And I was like, don't believe everything you hear, especially if it comes from a woman. All right. Somebody did something, he did something he wasn't supposed to, I guess, and she wanted revenge. So instead of being, a wife about it, she became a woman and said, I'm going to put him behind bars and make him suffer. And there's a lot of us that have dealt with that. There's women that want to put you behind bars because you didn't make them happy.
Wow, that guy. I think people aren't going to like him very much after just hearing a few snippets of the way he talks about. Should have been a wife, but she was a woman,
Instead of being a wife. Yeah, no, he's talking about, he's giving an example, just like he did when talking about Fabiana's case, comparing her to Casey Anthony and Lorena Bobbitt.
Mm-hmm.
He also, he keeps talking about what pained him, this permanent restraining order, which once again restrains him from speaking about, talking to her, stalking her. He can't have any contact with her, and he can't be putting out defamatory and damaging information and attacks out in social media or anywhere just because he didn't get his way and get to continue to stalk her. He can't do it. And he's going to learn that the hard way, unfortunately, but he thinks that he should be allowed to vent about how wrong this is.
Oh, yeah. It was an injustice.
And what an injustice it was.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to go ahead and ride that line.
Yeah.
And, some of his friends have already gone to jail, and maybe he will too. We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what he says next. Mm-hmm. Listen for yourselves. He's so foolish.
What have I done to move the needle? I'm pushing the limits of free speech right now. Even though I don't believe in it, to be honest. Like, I don't believe there is such thing as free speech. You can't have free speech in a Zionist-occupied government. You can't have free speech in that kind of government. However, I will push the limits to it, as my friends have. And unfortunately, some of them are locked up right now. Okay? But I don't think she's done anything to move the needle. Okay? Yeah. My whole thing is just pushing the envelope of what the Constitution is. That's my thing, right? I'm going to go to jail for it possibly, just because when you push the envelope on it, I mean, you're not allowed to have rights in America, And I'll say this again. When your rights, right, interfere with someone's life, it's no longer rights. It has to do more with privilege, okay? So when these women have their rights, it was more of a privilege because it interfered with men's lives. A woman is voting, right, for what a man can have in America.
Oh, my God.
A woman is voting. No, you're not entitled to stalk, harass, threaten, assault. You don't have that right.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to control, manipulate, and try to damage other people's lives, their livelihoods, their well-being. And when you are exposed for doing those things by yourself, on social media, with third parties, like you have been convicted of doing, that's crime.
Yeah, I even thought, even in the statement there, he's making that he's threatening to just go violate this and end up in jail. He's just going to, and because he's fighting for America.
That's what he's trying to sell you.
And speaking to America One, thank you for the donation and the smiley face. Thank you for your support. But Jovi's fighting for America, and there's no such thing as free speech.
They equate breaking the law for their own gain, for their own personal vendettas, with fighting for America.
Yep.
Being patriotic.
Yep.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely ridiculous. So just know that the fact that this stalker does not understand the law does not mean that they are free from conviction, free from being convicted under the law, free from being arrested, tried, and convicted for violations of this permanent restraining order on harassment. And let me tell you my theory. I agree with you when you said that you think that it sounds like he's basically threatening that he is going to go and violate this restraining order. He is. And he doesn't care because he's fighting for America.
Yep.
I think that's true because he doesn't even have a large audience.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if you're going to say something, you want especially if you're going to risk going to jail, you don't want to do it so that 5 people heard it.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Because then you're also dumb. You're just stupid that you risked everything to tell 5 freaking people your dumb little tirade about women and about Fabiana in particular and Fabiana's judge. But that's exactly what he did because he literally had 5 people watching at one point, and there wasn't a whole lot of people in total at any time.
Wow.
There's only 57 views on it as of yesterday, or probably today, and probably for next month. I'm probably good on declaring that there's only like 50 views on this thing, 57 views on it for another month, because nobody is watching this guy's podcasts. Take a look. Not that there are very many. Remember, I showed you there's only 12, but this next one, Alina says, "Keep being a dumb jerk. 5 people watching. Lol." So, not a fan, obviously.
Yeah, really.
And some people probably just went on the podcast to troll him, like Alina did. I was one of the 5 people. Alina was one of the 5.
Okay, yeah.
And on this next post for the Megatard Mondays episode, you see that he has a YouTube called the show, episode 4, called The Masculinist, which is what we just listened to right now. And if you scroll, he says he has the Megatard Mondays, Hispanic Room, and in this next one, we've got the other one, which is Right-Wing Feminism. That comes from the same channel, Hispanic Room, with the hashtag Masculinist. That's the show that we, this is the one that talks about right-wing feminism. And finally, this is a post from February 25th from somebody warning Jovi that what he is doing is dangerous and stupid.
Okay.
And they say to Jovi in his chat room, "Pretty sure you aren't supposed to be sharing anything from that young lady," referring to Fabiana Baldo's case. "You goose-stepping moron." And the real conquistador, which we know to be Jovi Aval, responds, "What lady?"
I'm just speaking in general, but you sound like you want to snitch.
Yeah. Like, oh, snap. Are you going to go tell her? And then he comes back as he realized, like, oh, yeah, he's going to go tell her that. Somebody's going to go snitch. Somebody's going to tell the judge or notify this person that you're violating a restraining order because you have and you don't care. And he comes back with another another slam at Fabiana. He cannot help himself. He says, 40 isn't young, lady.
Yeah.
Again, this is the delusion. This man is talking about a woman in her late 20s. Fabiana is a woman in her late 20s. But for him, just like Fabiana was in a relationship with him, she never was, and he left the relationship, they never had a relationship.
Yeah.
That never happened. He's just cuckoo. Just like that never happened, Fabiana is not 40. She is decades away from 40. But again, he has to take a swipe. He has to take a jab. He is just a persistent violator, stalker, defying orders from a court. And I predict it's going to cost him a lot. I hope that you learned the lessons from this case and that you can see the similarities and also into the future of what is to come. Thank you for being on my super chat here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Good night. God bless.